Hi, everyone. This is Travis.
And this is Jonathan.
And we'd like to welcome you to the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.
That is the podcast that eventually plays the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
And we have that coming up. Before you know it, you'll be engaged into 35 minutes of complete bliss. The full, entire song, unedited, the 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
And we cannot wait for you to be engaged, both in terms of getting married and in terms of with the song.
Oh, sure. Some people may not want to.
Well, whatever makes people happy is what I want.
Exactly.
But we can't wait forever because eventually nobody's going to want us. So you should strike while the iron is hot is what I would say.
I was thinking like those kind of shotgun weddings you don't want, that's
that's right too. You want to listen, everyone, just take care, do the right thing, do what you want to do, take care of yourself and your bodies. And speaking of taking care of your bodies, I have a question that I think Travis and I discussed this, like, do we want to let other people in on this?
Well,
because it's dangerous. Someone could rob us and kill us.
Well, they don't. Well, they do know where we're at because we're in the we're renovating the old sailor's latrine.
If you heard us talk last week, you know that we were talking about renovating the old sailor's latrine, which is right just perched on the stick. I know you say a shore is rocky if there are lots of rocks, but what do you say about a shore that's just full of those pointy little sticks?
It's still the shore. I don't
just
know
the shore. Just leave it at
right
that.
there at the shore.
Just sort of a bleak sort of. Remember when Snoopy on TV would fight in World War I? It sort of looks like that, but also sort of in its bleakness is a kind of beauty.
Oh, there's definitely a beauty. I think it's to hear the ocean sounds as well, along with the beauty of the old rustic. I guess they're sticks at point.
And to imagine the relief of those sailors when they were on those huge ships.
When they arrived, they would immediately dock, and like again, there's old photographs and old newspapers and artist famous paintings of all of the sailors lined up to use the old sailors' latrine.
And I'm sure there was nothing more beautiful in that moment to those sailors than that old sailor's latrine. And Travis and I are finally going to be living together, shacked up in there. We're going to be with our little podcast nook, and we're going to keep some of the historical elements alive and well. We're doing the renovation ourselves. We are going crazy.
Trying to figure it out.
We did have... also, I want to say, people say, you live way out there when people... And the train goes out there. I mean, the train doesn't go out there itself, but the porter, when he gets off work at the train station, he lives
out there and he drives.
He lives in the old lighthouse, the old porter's lighthouse.
If we time it right, he's very accommodating.
I misunderstood that because he's not. I thought the porter lived in the porter's lighthouse, but he actually works. He's the bus boy on the train, which just means he is a guy who tells the people coming off the bus where to find the train station. And then he's also the bus boy at the porter's lighthouse, which is the restaurant about 45 miles up off the highway. They have a great sandwich there.
They do have
just the meat and the sauce and all the different all the things you want.
Really good. Probably, I'm going to say the best seafood sandwich.
Yeah,
available.
The seafood sandwich is great.
It's delicious.
Also, so that's the Porter's Lighthouse, and that's just up off the highway, about 45 minutes from here. And
it's not much of a walk because you think 45 minutes, but that's not. There's nothing to that. That's easy.
45-minute walk. The drive is shorter.
He goes into work. We hop out. When he's not working, he's come by here maybe a couple times.
He also drives for Uber.
But he's a hard
he does
worker.
A lot of different things, and sometimes he charges us, and sometimes he doesn't. It depends on how his life's going.
Sure.
And we hear all about that.
We do.
So it's great. It's a lot of fun living out here, and the sea coyotes and everybody, those birds, whatever they are, that peck and squawk. But what I wanted to tell everybody about, and this is where the crowdsourcing. Have you ever heard of that, Travis?
Yes. It is like a GoFundMe or a I guess that's it. Is it like a GoFundMe?
Well, what I wanted to do was we found, I think, a treasure map, and I want to crowdsource it out there and say, does anybody know what a treasure map looks like? Because this, to me, looks like something from National Treasure or the Pirates of the Penzance,
well, that's
or whatever.
The point being, now, this is a little history here for people who don't live around here and hear about the old sailors' latrine, or people who are just not into nautical history. This was back then. Pirates were not. It was frowned upon to be a pirate, not like today, where pirates are fun and everybody likes them. Back then, pirates were no good.
They were the bad guys. I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
It'd be like you find out cowboys were bad.
I know. It's so strange.
Like in the game of Cowboys and Indians, now the Cowboys are bad?
I know it.
What? Everything's topsy-turvy.
It is. It really is. But we're trying to grow and learn. But as far as the history is concerned...
Oh, the Cowboys are bad.
Yes, I believe in certain circles that's the case.
Right. Okay. Yes. So that makes sense that the Pirates would
be bad as well. It was frowned upon for a pirate to use this latrine. Of course, they wanted to, like anybody else. They're on a ship. They want to go on land. As soon as you pull into the dock, you want to get to that latrine. But they were not welcome. And I believe, as the legend goes, there was the great. He was a pirate. It was Old Blue McCullochee.
Mm-hmm.
Old Blue
McCullochee.
Pirate Old Blue McCullochee went, regardless of what people were saying to him, went to use his latrine. And when the regular sailors, I don't think some in the military, but I think some of these were just people who sailed, caught wind of this, he was taken downtown to the square. And
that doesn't exist anymore because the waters have swallowed it up.
But his fingers, they cut off all of his fingers for using that latrine.
Why would they cut off his fingers?
That was a punishment back then for pirates that used the old sailors' latrine.
Well, I guess it kind of makes sense.
But one by one, I think it was like a slow process. They didn't do it all at once. They would take a finger.
Are you sorry now?
Which, I was thinking about, that explains like the hook. You see pirates with a hook. Maybe they tried to use.
Yeah, but the hook is for the hand. It's not like you have a hand with five little hooks on it.
That's true. You don't.
But maybe we just haven't seen.
I guess injuries to their hands, I guess, is what I was trying to say. Pirates had, they would get in trouble in that area.
If those were what the punishments were, and you caught a pirate, you had to punish them. And if your punishment was chop off your fingers until you got down to the hand, maybe they just kept going. And maybe pirates never said they were sorry, I guess.
Well, some people say, this is part of the legend, that Blue McCullochee, Pirate Blue McCullochee, the reason he used that latrine, even though people told him, you cannot do that, they're going to cut off your fingers, don't you do it. The reason they say that years before, that this map supposedly was hidden in this latrine. And that's the reason he went in there. It wasn't just to go to the bathroom. He was going to try to find this map or treasure. I don't think the treasure itself. I think if the map was hidden there, that would tell him where the treasure would be.
Oh.
So that's why I'm sure he had to use the restroom as well. I don't doubt that. But I think the real reason...
I always sort of have to go. I mean, if you're like, you want to use the restroom, I'm not going to be like, no, I'm good. I'm like, yeah, I better.
Go ahead and might as well use it while I'm here.
Even when I was a young man and you wouldn't think, well, he's too young to have to go all the time. I did. I always go. I could always go. If you're like, go right now, I could go. If you're like, fill this cup up, I'm a doctor. I could go. It's no problem. I always have to go.
Well,
whenever you pull off the freeway and you're like, oh, let's go do you need a rest stop? I'm like, yep, let's rest. Let's stop. I got to go. I mean, just a little bit. But I can always get a little bit of something out of something.
Well,
that's neither here nor there.
Pirate Blue McCullochee probably should have held it in because, he'd lost his fingers. But now these are legends. We don't know if this is true or not. And I don't see anything on this map that we found that says it's Pirate Blue McCullochee. I don't think that's I didn't see anything in there, but there is there's weird language that I can't read.
It was under the tile. Mm-hmm. It was tied around one of those planks that they would have gone to the bathroom on.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we untied it and unrolled it, I said, "This is a map." And you said, "Well, I don't know. This is a language I can't read." And I said, "I know, but I think all those words are written on a map."
Well, it's those little dash, dash, dash. You follow the thing. Remember Family Circus? Like all of those were kind of
very much like that. And at first, my first thought was, well, this is an old Family Circus.
Maybe from an olden days, except they didn't have children or figures of that kind on it.
No, children out walking by themselves would never have made it home.
Oh, back then, certainly not.
Not on these sticky shores.
No.
With pirates coming and going, and the sailors, and whatever it was they were trying to do, and these latrines, and just the sea coyotes, and the
not a place for
birds.
children. It's just not a place for children. There's plenty other places you can take your child. Although when Jonathan and I finish renovating this place, we hope that it is a place children could be welcome.
The whirlpools. I've seen the whirlpools come up.
Sure.
Insanity.
It's
sucking,
dangerous,
sucking death.
Terrain and ocean.
But beautiful.
Oh, absolutely gorgeous. Yes. But look, don't touch, I guess.
At the end of the dotted Family Circus lines, there is a pot. It's almost like a leprechaun's map because there's a pot of gold, and it's also at the end of the rainbow. But I think the rainbow is just sort of symbolic. Like, look how happy everyone's going to be.
Right. I don't know if that's meant to say that there's going to be an actual rainbow there, but at the same time, maybe they don't mean there's going to be an actual pot of gold. We don't know, and we don't really know how to follow maps, and we don't know if this map is for here or if it's for someplace else. Somebody put it there.
It could be for Europe.
We have no idea. But still exciting and fascinating, and one of the many reasons that it's so incredibly interesting and pleasurable to have the opportunity to live in a place that just holds so much history. And,
so many mysteries and secrets.
Many things, yeah.
The map is ours. It's 100% ours because it came with the latrine when we bought it, so no question about that.
Yeah,
that I don't think that entitles us to the treasure. If it's a treasure,
if we have no idea,
I would say that it doesn't. I mean, it certainly gives us a
head start. Yeah.
But if you know about treasure maps and you know how to help us read one, then get in touch with us.
Please just get in touch with us.
I'm not saying we split it, but maybe like you could take 70% and we take 30 or something like that.
If you could just use our social media to let us know if you have any information whatsoever. Maybe we can take a picture of this map and put it up and see if it means anything. It looks like a bunch of gobbledygook to me, but...
And don't tell Porter the busboy, the porter, about any of this.
No, please do not.
He's told us about robbing people.
Yes,
before. He will rob people.
Yes, he will. We and plus we don't. I don't want to. We appreciate the ride with him. I don't want to make that.
He has 4 jobs. He's a busboy. He's a porter. He's a busboy. He drives for Uber and he robs people.
That's when you're working that many jobs. That's you have some. Unfortunately, in today's society, people have to resort to that. But anyway, let's play 100 Ways to Love a Cat. That's what we're here to do. And we'll investigate this map.
I love that we have friends and fans that we can talk to on here about all the funny things going on, the peculiarities of living in a latrine, and we don't really live there yet because we're mostly still in our cars.
It's not livable.
It's not a livable space.
Too cold.
But thanks for listening, everyone. We love catching up with you.
All right. Enjoy 100 Ways to Love a Cat. Thank you.
There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 1. Keep a tidy house for them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 2. be sure to clip their claws. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 3. Scoop their box daily. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 4. Brush them with a hairbrush. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 5. Don't squeeze their paws hard. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 6. Give them some fresh water. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 7. Let them have a fish. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 8. Buy them a scratching post. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 9. Put them in your lap. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 10. Be quiet when they're sleeping. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 11. Whisper, I love you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 12. Rub their soft belly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 13. Make sure their tail is clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 14. Give them a yarn ball. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 15. Make them a nice bed. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 16. Buy him some catnip. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 17. Play them some music. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 18. Get them a cute collar. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 19. Make sure they're vaccinated. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 20. Take their picture. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 21. Brush their teeth. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 22. Let them watch TV. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 23. Don't let them be outside by themselves. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 24. Feed them some cat food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 25. Make sure their eyes are clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 26. Put a liner in their box. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 27. Give them a mat to wipe their feet on. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 28. Don't forget them on Christmas. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 29. Make sure they're spayed or neutered. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 30. Hold them like a baby. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 31. Let them have a towel or blanket. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 32. Keep your toilet lid down. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 33. Don't let them chew on power cords. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 34. Set them by the window. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 35. Cat-proof your home. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 36. Change their litter weekly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 37. Praise them lavishly. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 38. Never feed him chicken bones. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 39. Teach them a funny trick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 40. Give them a toy mouse. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 41. Clean up their hairballs. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 42. Keep them away from candles. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 43. Give him a separate zone. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 44. Never play with them aggressively. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 45. Increase his cuddle time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 46. Be sure to watch his weight. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 47. If you leave, turn on the radio. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 48. Scold him firmly but with kindness. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 49. Respond when he meows. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 50. Give them a thing of cat grass. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 51. Scratch under his chin. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 52. Remind him that you love him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 53. Give them a box to play in. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 54. If they're old, help them get down. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 55. Let them lick you with their rough tongue. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 56. Record precious memories. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 57. Dress them up in ribbons. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 58. Give them a flea treatment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 59. Make a vet appointment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 60. Give them a little wet food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 61. When they scratch you, don't get angry. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 62. Give them some private time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 63. Treat them with respect. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 64. When he grooms himself, say good job. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 65. Let them chase a laser pointer. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 66. Clean out their ears. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 67. Never smoke around them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 68. Buy a sturdy cat carrier. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 69. Listen to them purr. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 70. Tempted by temptations. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 71. Give them your full attention. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 72. Don't trap them in the laundry basket. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 73. Let them sleep in bed with you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 74. Make sure they're not locked in the closet. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 75. Don't let them play in plastic bags. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 76. Give them a massage. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 77. touch him as you pass by. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 78. If he's on the couch, don't be mad. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 79. If they hate fans, turn the fan off. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 80. When there's a bird outside, say, hey, look! 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 81. Intrigue them with a funny sound. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 82. Don't forget sardine time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 83. Let him play with your old socks. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 84. Stroke in the direction that his fur goes. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 85. Admire his long whiskers. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 86. Keep his box away from his food. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 87. Pretend that he's a piano. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 88. Don't interrupt them while they're eating. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 89. When they're scared, go and comfort them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 90. Let him have a lick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 91. If their breath stinks, give them greenies. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 92. Give him a ball with a bell in it. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 93. If it's hot, put ice in their bowl. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 94. Let him drink out of the sink. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 95. Don't vacuum if it scares him. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 96. Draw a picture of him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 97. If you drop some food, it's theirs now. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 98. Read him a book. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 99. Feed him again. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 100. Just love them every day. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways.
There you have it.
always cheers me up. If I'm in a good mood, it takes it even higher.
And it helps me focus, too. And while we were listening to that now, we were looking close, and I think we've discovered a new thing or two about this map while we were listening to the song just then.
It was sort of a breakthrough, and I was lucky to be sitting next to Travis when he figured it out.
Well, I don't want to take all the credit for it. You certainly helped pinpoint a couple of things concerning our new discoveries.
But we're pretty sure, because there used to be a bunch of spires on the latrine. So we're pretty sure that we've spotted, they all fell down and were sucked into the whirlpools. But we are pretty sure that this is supposed to be right here. You can't see it, but right here where I'm pointing is our home, the old sailor's latrine.
I think that's definitely seems to be the case. There's a great deal of evidence. Also, just the sketching of it, the way, again, the spire's there. And also, I'm not quite sure. I think it is a different language, but it almost looks like it says urinal, but I don't know if that's precisely what it says. You almost have to use a magnifying glass.
It wouldn't make sense because they didn't have it. But, I mean, maybe urinal just means latrine. And
I don't know.
Maybe this is a more recent map, and they were like, we should put in a urinal.
I have no idea, but
also interesting is there's a hole in the direction where the sea coyotes always come from, and it almost like if we wanted maybe to hire someone to exterminate them, or I mean, I don't want to kill a bunch of
we
animals.
We need to find a way.
So many.
There has to
maybe
be some
we could
sort
just
of repellent.
plug up the hole.
I don't know.
But I think he's pinpointed the den for the sea coyotes. So if that's possible, that's going, because we know the direction they come from. So maybe instead of trying to find the treasure first, we should just try to get rid of the sea coyote, because they will come up and they will circle you, and they will take, and they're scavengers, so they'll take any food from you that they can. But they're also tricksters, so they'll make you trip and fall down, and then they'll nip and grab at you. And
they're difficult. They really
bite
are.
You. They do bite.
They nip. I mean,
I don't think they'll kill you, but they like to. They cause you pain.
Sometimes that kind of torture is worse than death. I think if an animal treats you that way. They made off with an entire. We went because remember when we knew we were going to be working all day, so we would buy ahead and get like 4 or 5 Subway sandwiches because they keep longer than other like McDonald's or Taco Bell or anything. Like Subways will keep for a while. They made off with every bit of that. We didn't get anything. They
almost as soon as we got out of the car. I don't even know what happened.
It was like,
or remember when we walked to the old Porter's Lighthouse and we got the seafood sandwich, and by the time we came back, it wasn't even in the bag.
Wasn't in the bag. Somehow had managed to get it out of the bag without us.
And they could kill us, and they know it if they wanted to. It's the other thing.
So that's
it's a power
imbalance. But it's assuring to you, as bad as things get, well, at least they're not going to take my life. But if they wanted to, they could.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's reassuring or not, honestly.
Well, thanks so much for listening to us today. If we find out some more about this treasure map, we'll be sure and let you know.
I'm hungry. All that talk about food.
I know.
We have to eat it here.
We definitely have to eat it here.